This podcast is brought to you in part by PNP Games, your online source for everything video games. Visit their website at pnpgames.com or at one of their 3 retail locations in Winnipeg, Manitoba. All right, everybody, and welcome to the DeREZD podcast. This is episode number 10. As always, I'm your host, Lloyd Hannison, and joining me this week, Will Kelly. Will, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. I'm so excited for tonight's show for no real reason. I'm just pumped and jazzed. I think it was your pre-show DJing that got me all excited.
Yeah, I was an idiot. Let me first say that I was a moron. I was actually really stupid, not just a moron. I ordered a new machine for this podcast just to act as the main podcast machine a while ago, and it finally came in yesterday. And I told myself, yeah, it's going to take me 2 weeks to get it configured. I'm not going to set it up until everything is 100% because I don't want to screw up anything at all. Well, I'm on the new machine now. I have like 3 monitors right in front of me. I have my old laptop that I used for the show before. I have everything running through new software. I had to move all my settings over. I don't know why I did this, Will, but it seems to work. And we got some cool stuff. Like we have the chat room now as an overlay. So hello, chat room. You're on the live podcast now. So keep it clean. But yeah, like I don't know why I did this, Will. I'm pumped about it, but things could have gone horribly wrong.
It's because you saw something in the corner of your eye that needed a little tinkering, and you just had to tinker.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys where if there's like a little loose corner on something, you go and you kind of scratch it and pull on it, and next thing you know, you're tearing off like paint from the wall. It's like, oh, I got to repaint now. I'm that kind of person. So
that's awesome. Well, I asked you about it, and you're like, yeah, it's gonna be too much work. I can't do it tonight. And then you start sending me all these pictures of your setup, and I was like, oh, that didn't take long.
Well, it was funny because I had it all on my desk, and I ended up borrowing like I have 2 24-inch monitors, but one of them's not mine. I borrowed it from a friend just to see if I want to order one myself. And I set it up, and it's like, oh, that looks pretty good. Let's see how it works. So I put my iMac on the edge of this table right in front of my laptop, and it was like super cutting everything off. And it's like, oh, that could really work. And then like 5 minutes later, I'm unhooking my laptop and plugging stuff in, and it was terrible. Thankfully, I had a lot of time before we started the show, or things could have gone really, really, really wrong. But they didn't, and that is good.
Now we have new toys to play with.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, welcome to the DeREZD podcast, everybody. DeREZD is, of course, our weekly gaming show where we talk about games, because it is a weekly gaming show after all. Yeah, we talk about things, but most importantly, we love to hear from you guys. We love your feedback. We love your comments. We love everybody that comes and chats in the chat room live while we record the show. That's really awesome. If you want to get in contact with us and let us know what you think of the show or ask us a question, you can head on over to vgpodcast.com. You can email us at vgpodcast@gmail.com. Call us 505 VG or even hit us up on Twitter. I'm at Dasme on Twitter. Will is at Iliam, ILIAM on Twitter. But of course, you can come each and every Friday night at 10 p.m. Central while we record this at vgpodcast.com/live and hang out with all the other people that show up to chat. Now that we've altered things a little bit, we'll maybe have some chat room stuff showing up over everything else while we do the show as well, which will be pretty darn cool. What do you think, Will?
I love it. I love the upgrades.
I do too. There's still more. I got a couple pieces of hardware that I still have to order, and I'm using an external audio interface that I had on a Mac that I used about 7-8 years ago. I sold the Mac and then didn't have a use for the audio interface, so it kind of sat in my closet. And thankfully, it's working now. But it is old, so it might just drop out at any time. So I got to get one of those. You buy stuff and it leads to more purchases, which then leads to unhappy wives and saying that your hobby is stupid. So we'll see how far things go as the weeks roll on.
That rabbit hole is never ending, so you always got to be careful.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, so what do you say we get into the show, man?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, first off, we got a piece of feedback from a listener, and it's long, but we want to read it because it says some important things, and it asks some good questions. So it's from Moro, also known as Darkside DJ, and it goes, "Hi guys. First of all, I'd like to say that finding your community through Lloyd's Kickstarter venture is one of the best things to happen to me this year, gaming related. If you guys don't know, I kickstarted the 90s arcade racer project. So I backed the Kickstarter at the level that allowed me to put an in-game billboard. And how long ago? Was it about 6 weeks ago or 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, something like that? Will, maybe it was actually earlier. Maybe it was like November of last year.
No, it was like 2 or 3 months ago.
Was it?
Yeah.
I can't even remember, but basically what happened was they Nicholas, who's now handling the publishing of that game, posted some screenshots of Wii U support, and it was a picture of the Wii U gamepad, and it was the car parked right in front of my billboard. Nice VGpodcast.com. So it was kind of funny when I was reading the articles on like Joystick and Kotaku. They're like, "Who the F is VGpodcast.com, and why is there crappy advertising in this game?" So there was a lot of hate. But a lot of good came out of it as well. We got a lot of people actually listening to the show and emailing me or commenting on the forums, which is really cool. So that game should hopefully be out in the next couple months, and we'll see what happens after that. But if nothing else, we got one listener, which is pretty darn awesome. So thanks and welcome, Moro. So the rest of his email goes, secondly, I absolutely love VG Podcast community. It's full of nice gamers, and it's such a refreshing change from the mainstream crap communities like... I'm sure you know what I talk about without giving examples. I kind of already gave an example of some of the crap that was out there. You guys have something and lack the something, which I recognize to be the things that draw me to your podcast. You have the passion and drive to keep these awesome podcasts coming, and lack the snobby attitude that is always present in mainstream podcasts. And believe me, I listen to gaming podcasts 24/7. And I never find myself wanting to shut my player off when I'm listening to yours. Well, thanks, man. That's pretty awesome. That's a nice comment, Will.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I do not have a friend at Nicholas Prometheus, by the way. Anyway, enough blabbing or babbling. I just want to ask you the following. What do you think is the one thing that keeps us coming back to play video games that other people, and by that I mean those of the more casual audience, are coming back for more? I ask this because I play a lot of Telltale games with my girlfriend, and even though she had a history of playing video games when she was a kid, she never had the same drive as I do to come back to them after a session or two. I can play these video games with her for a whole afternoon and see her not ask me to do the same thing for almost a month. After we did, even though she enjoyed this session and I let her play through them. I think this essence of gaming is one thing that Nintendo really nailed during the Wii generation, and that it's struggling to replicate in this one with the amazing Wii U. I know casual players enjoy playing games, but there's something lacking that makes them go into hibernation when it comes to wanting to revisit these experiences. Whereas we can't wait to wake up the next day in order to keep playing more. Diablo 3, I'm looking at you. I hope I phrased my question properly. I'd love hearing you addressing this, and hope to send more questions your way soon. Thanks for the awesome podcasts, and from Moro. So first of all, thanks for the awesome email, and thanks for joining us. The chat room is going to be even more distracting now that it's like right below the video. Jay Cargill, I don't have a beard anymore. I just have a goatee, so you're missing some of the beardy goodness of my Canadian beard. Jay Carguth. Anyway, back to the question from Moro. So what do you think makes us come back, Will, to games? What is it that keeps us wanting to play the latest and greatest?
Well, I want to thank Moro for this email because you forwarded this email to me early in the week, and I literally could not stop thinking about this email because it hit so close to home for me.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to convince more girlfriends than I can count. Good thing my wife doesn't listen to this show, to play games with me and kind of indulge in the passions that I have in gaming, and it's never stuck. And so I just chalked it up to losses at the time, and so this week I really had to kind of analyze what is it.
Sure.
I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
For me personally, when I was a kid, I played with toys and I played sports, and when I grew up, I continued to play with toys in the form of video games. And the only kind of thing that I could come up with, and Lloyd, you can actually let me know this because I'm not a sports guy either, but I kind of feel like it's the same sort of thing that sports has. If you're really into different types of sports, like if you're a diehard football fan or a diehard hockey fan, it's like if you don't get it, you just don't get it. And
yeah,
I don't know.
I definitely think there's a lot to that. Different people take different pleasure in different things. I know, like when I was a kid, I was always like, I was doing the imagination thing. I was writing little stories. I was drawing stuff. When video games, like my first video game system was the Atari 2600. I go back a long way playing games. After that, anytime that I wrote something at school, it was about video games. Every time I had to do, like we had to write a book in grade school. It was just a small, like 20-page book with drawings, and it was about a guy who was it? He broke into a store to play a video game or something. It was something crazy like that, and it was like everything that I did was video games, because video games allowed me to basically take some of that imagination that I had and act it out. I love books, I love movies, I love TV, but there's something different about games. It's the same reason why I used to play role-playing games, pen and paper role-playing games, or pencil and paper role-playing games, and get into some of the more stuff like Magic the Gathering, where you're kind of doing stuff that you can't do in real life. And I think it's just that's part of my personality. I like to live that stuff out. And if games weren't around, I probably would have done something crazy like write screenplays or something, or write like science fiction or something that would have gone along with my imagination. Like I wrote a lot of stories when I was growing up, and then games became better and better, and I didn't have to write these stories. I didn't have to create these worlds anymore, because they were being created for me, and I could go experience them at my leisure. For me, I think that's the big thing.
Well, and we've talked about a lot on the show that it's the enjoyment a lot of times comes from the experience, and that's the way I feel about it too. Is it provides an outlet to do something that is fantastical and exciting, and not to say like everyday life isn't that way, but I mean, can you jump on the roof of a building and jump off with like jet hands that allows you to fly across the city? Probably not. So this allows that, and it's a immersive way to experience storytelling that in my opinion, the closest you can get is actually reading a book, because that is also kind of a personal experience. But you don't have to fill in much in with your imagination. Like you're saying, it's something that you can visually see, but also interact and participate in.
Yeah, exactly. And I definitely think that was the big thing for me, was that the living out of a fantasy type thing. For other people, they just don't have that part in them, which is cool. They have different things. Like my wife, she was a big gamer. Actually, our first date, we went out for dinner and stuff, and then we came back and we played Mario Kart on the Nintendo 64. So it was like, wow, this is awesome. A girl that plays games, this is great. And she played games like from then on. Like
that's awesome.
That was something that we always did. And then we had kids, and she kind of lost a lot of that passion for gaming, because she had different passions. She had things around the house to do that she wanted to do, like crafts and arts and other things that just weren't game related. So she's taken back or stepped back from some of the gaming stuff that she used to do. Although Minecraft, like right behind me, you can see the creeper in the box right there. She plays that like crazy. So, and she plays a lot of stuff on the iPhone and the iPad, but the sit down in front of a console as our way to unwind in the afternoon or the evening kind of went away. So I guess priorities or whatever shifted. But for me, I mean, like I'm running a podcasting network. I wrote a blog forever. I mean, I started podcasting before podcasting was podcasting. I was putting up audio files for people to download. Like it was ridiculous. I used to run a BBS back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and it was mainly gaming related. I wrote games for the BBS, like door games and stuff. Like everything about my life has always been games. Like when I could read, it was always about video games, reading gaming mags and stuff like that. It's just my passion. And then other people have like sports, where that's all they want to do is read about sports, play sports, watch sports. And I'm kind of there as well. Like I watch hockey. Anybody that follows me on Twitter knows when hockey's on, because I am a little stupid about the amount of tweets that I send out. So I got that passion about a lot of different things, I guess. But for me, like if I could do anything in my life, it would be something gaming related. And I work a great job, and I have this side thing, which is perfect for me. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think there is just like a magic thing, right? It's how can you explain why you do for a living if you enjoy it? Or for me, I find a lot of my mutual interest have kind of come from gaming. I feel like I'm kind of a tech geek now, and I think that all spawned from video games. And when I had a PC, having to figure out how to make my stupid games work, and I don't know. Yeah, it's who knows why we like the things we do, but yeah,
just some people have that in them. They just have the love for that. Like sorry, I didn't go ahead. I didn't want to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, when I was growing up, I don't want to be sexist or anything, but it was always the guys that were interested in gaming. I'm glad that that's not the case anymore. That it's basically a 50-50 divide now. So, I mean, when I was growing up, you were either you're a nerd or you were a dude. Those are the people that played video games. It was really weird. It's really great to be in a world now where everybody games. The people that are in office now played video games, where when I first played games, people were like, oh, that it's bad for the kids and it's going to ruin them. And even
childish. Yeah.
Like even 10 years ago, there was a talk about violence in games was going to ruin culture. It's good to see some of those things kind of go away as the population ages, and the fact that most people play games. Most people have one of these things, and they'll play Flappy Bird or something on their device. They just don't see themselves as a gamer, even though that's kind of what it is.
Yep. It's weird too. Do you have those friends that they may pick up the occasional Call of Duty or the occasional Titanfall, like those big names that they've finally heard enough media about? They'll just go out and buy it, and you see them playing, and then they just stop. And it's weird. For the same reason, those types of people can't really see what I see. I don't see how they don't see what I see. You know what I mean? It's like, how do you not recognize this? And that's just it. That's what makes us all different. And that's why you can't really, I don't think, put your finger on that one thing. It's
totally.
You get it or you don't.
I have friends who buy Madden, and that's it. They have a PS2 and then a PS3. And if you look at their game library, it's Madden 97, Madden 98, Madden 99, Madden 2000. Like, that's the only game they play. They own a console to play this one game. And they might have the odd, like, NHL game thrown in and stuff. I personally don't get that, because if you're going to pay money for a console, like, use it. But these people, that's what they use it for. So, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, more power to them.
Yep, exactly. So what do you think? We answer that question, you think?
I think so.
All right. Well, Mauro, thanks for sending in the question. Thanks for the awesome email. And if you would like to send in your own question or comment, just email us, vgpodcast@gmail.com, or call us 505-VG-Podcast, and we'll play your voicemail in a future episode of the show. All right. First off, just wanted to make quick mention that it is a important milestone for one of gaming's greats, and that is the Game Boy turned 25 today, or this week. It turned 25 on Monday. It was released in Japan on Monday, but 25 years ago Monday. Crazy. Did you own an original Game Boy, Will?
I absolutely did.
Like there's all the specs here. 8-bit 4 megahertz CPU. I'm wearing a Pebble right now, which is way faster than that, and it's my watch. That's all it does is does watchy things. It had 160 by 144 pixels. It had great ads like this. Just don't smile when they say you're grounded, and it shows off Bonk's Adventure and Felix the Cat and Adventure Island 2, which is actually a really good game. Game Boy was huge for me. Like, what are some of your favorite Game Boy games, Will? Do you remember any of them?
Oh yeah, lots. I remember. It's funny. The ones I remember the most though were those impossible games like Battletoad and
Battletoad.
The Simpsons game where you had to escape the Camp
Krusty. Oh, that was so terrible, but it was awesome, and I wanted to keep playing it.
Exactly. Speaking of those that don't tend to play video games, I remember my mom was addicted to Tetris, and it was the only game she's ever played in her entire life. But like literally, we were fighting over the system because I wanted to play and she wanted to play Tetris and beat her top score.
Right. Oh, that's so funny.
What were some of your games?
I had lots. Like I had a lot of Game Boy favorites, like Final Fantasy Adventure. That was like my first RPG really that I got super into. Actually, I have right here. I just found this up when I was moving some stuff around earlier, which is really kind of funny. Final Fantasy Legend 2. It's the map and showing some of the world maps, like all the different dungeons and things like that. I was so into this stuff. The whole little mini map type things. It was really awesome. That was great. Gargoyle's Quest was one of my favorite games of all time on the Game Boy. Did you ever play that, Will?
Which one was it?
Gargoyle's Quest.
No, I never played that one.
Do you remember what was it, Ghosts and Goblins, where you're the guy that throws a lance, but at the start of it this little thing flies down and picks up your woman and flies off with her? That was the Gargoyle that they made this RPG out. It was like an action RPG. It was incredibly hard, but I busted my butt to beat this game, and it was so good. That was one of my favorite. There was a game called Sneaky Snakes, where you were basically this little snake and you ate these little things and you'd bounce around. It was just like a terrible game. Faceball 2000 was ridiculous. It was like
any of these.
It was like a 3D maze game, and you could actually use the system link to link up multiple machines and play chase in a maze. The Game Boy was great. Like even down to like Mortal Kombat, like buying Mortal Kombat on the Game Boy.
I had that.
It was horrible, but I wanted it. And I got that. I had so many games on the Game Boy way back in the day. And then like Super Mario Land and all the other great Mario games, like the Wario games were great on the Game Boy. And I never got into Pokemon on the early systems, but that was to a lot of people I know that was their one thing that made the Game Boy so damn awesome.
It's funny, that was the first time I got into Pokemon was Red on the original Game Boy, and I think I had it on the Game Boy Color at the time, and
right.
I loved it. But when I still to this day, when I think of Game Boy memories, it's all those original games.
Yeah, and I mean Tetris, of course. You can't say the Game Boy without playing Tetris or saying Tetris. I put so much time into that. The music is permanently burned into my brain. Whenever I think Tetris, I think of the theme on the Game Boy.
Yep, me too.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what was another good game? I forgot. The original Nintendo Golf. That was like one of the launch titles, pretty much.
Love that game.
It was a terrible golf game, but the game was so good, and I played that so much. Yeah, I don't know, so crazy.
The Desert Strike and Jungle Strike games, those helicopter games.
Those were wicked. Yeah, yeah. I remember playing. There was a ninja game that I played. I don't think it was Ninja Gaiden. I can't remember what it was. I'll have to look through some of the game lists. There were so many great Game Boy games, and they were usually terrible games, but they just worked. And were you one of those guys that had like the Game Boy, then you had like the magnifying glass, and you had the light, then you had the speakers, and you had all this other like weird stuff hanging off of it, so it was like 75 pounds in your hand?
Yeah, but
Yeah, it
it's
was.
still folded up. Oh, and it even had like the little joystick attachment that you like clipped on to.
Yeah, those are great. I was
Yeah.
a couple months ago. I was going through all my old box games, and I found all of my old Game Boy accessories. I'll have to break them out one show and kind of show off all that stuff. It was terrible, terrible, terrible. But that was what you did. It was so awesome.
How times have changed, huh?
Totally. So happy birthday, Game Boy! And to celebrate the Game Boy's birthday on Monday, I was walking through the mall and I passed by one of those those little mall kiosks that sell cell phone stuff at like super inflated prices.
Hmm.
I ended up picking up a original Game Boy iPhone 5 cover, and it has like actual buttons on it and stuff. It is so cool. I loved it. And then the first thing my kids say is, "Oh, can you play games on that?" It's like, "No, it's just a case." They're like, "Oh, it would be better if you could play games on that."
Like
Oh,
spoiled kid.
kids. So happy birthday, Game Boy.
It's crazy, and the worst part is the original screen was probably close to that size.
Yeah, it was a little bit bigger, but not by much. And it had that sickly green color, which was that was what you had, and you loved it. It was great. 4 colors. It could display all of 4 colors at one time, and the colors were just different gradients of gray.
Yeah.
It was either dark gray, not so dark gray, not very dark gray, or green.
So the term colors there was used rather liberally.
Exactly. They are technically a color, but
Right.
not many shades for sure.
It's funny.
Awesome. So yeah, happy birthday, Game Boy. That is our shout out for the episode. All right, man. What do you say we get on to
End of line.
for this episode?
Do it.
Do you like that? I got the
I
little,
like that.
sound effect. Sorry, Disney, don't sue us for putting that in there.
Disney who?
Yeah, exactly. I said their name. They're going to know now. End of line is the biggest news item of the week, and I think we picked off a really good one this week, and that is the fact that Minecraft. There's a whole bunch of Minecraft news anyway. That was the biggest thing, and oops, that's not the right one. The biggest news coming from all the news that came out is that Minecraft will be coming to the PS4 and Vita. We already knew that, but the fact for that is that you can transfer your worlds from your PS3 to your PlayStation 4 and Vita. They haven't said how you're going to do that yet, but for someone that plays Minecraft on their PS3 a lot, this is great news. Also around the same time, there was some news that it wasn't gonna work for Xbox 360 to Xbox One. There was some quotes that were basically put up there from Microsoft saying, "Nope, they're different systems. There's going to be no way to get your save game from one to the other." And then the internet exploded, and then I think like 6 hours later, you had Phil Spencer from Microsoft saying, "Oh no, actually no, we have been working with Mojang for a while, and sure enough, no, this is going to work. We're not going to announce how it's going to work yet, but it is going to work." It's like, well, you'd be working with 4G Studios, not Mojang, but okay. So they went into kind of another. You said something, stuck your foot in your mouth, and then the disaster recovery team came out. Like, when will Microsoft learn, man?
Just stop talking.
Yeah, just don't say anything. Just don't say anything. So yeah, so Minecraft will be coming to next gen really soon. They say quarter two or quarter three, so it's anytime from now to like I guess November, depending on how their quarters work out. And it will be on the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4, and the Vita. Save games will transfer from your old console to your new console if that's what you want to do. And there was even some talk about crossplay or discounts for the PlayStation versions,
Oh, that's awesome.
which would be really amazing. Like if you bought the PS4 version, you got the Vita version for free, or if it was like a $5 upgrade or something like that, that would be ridiculous. I don't think it's going to happen, but stuff like that was mentioned as well. So.
This is for a game like this, it's almost required, you would think. But it's such a popular game. If it wasn't mentioned at all and we weren't getting those cross saves, then people, I mean, would be like,
Yeah,
whatever.
I'll buy it.
Minecraft.
I'll buy it on all 3 consoles, whatever.
Right.
I'll rebuy the game multiple times because it's Minecraft. I would prefer not to, but I will if I have to, type thing. Also announced this week, not related, but could be related is Mojang announced their bigger release of what they're calling the Minecraft Realms. And what Minecraft Realms is, if you're not already familiar, is it's a server farm that Mojang themselves are running, which basically allows you to lease a machine to run Minecraft on. So if you're playing on the PC, you could set up your own server, but you have to have a computer connected to the internet all the time. You have to co-locate or pay for a server farm slice. Well, Mojang directly is going to be doing this, and it's called Minecraft Realms. It's $13 a month, and it gets you a server that 20 people can connect to, maximum of 20 people can connect to. This isn't related to the consoles at all, of course, but what my hope is that this will come to the consoles. Like, how cool would it be, Will, for us to set up a VG Podcasts Minecraft server and give people the address and then allow them to log into and build on our world in using the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One? That would be amazing. I don't think it's going to come. Just because the console version is so far behind the PC version. But that would be amazingly awesome if there's some way to even just host your save game in the cloud where you can send it to other people.
Yeah, that'd be so cool. I mean, it creates that persistent world that the PC has the luxury of having. And it really kind of reinforces the community having that always on server that people can just pop into and make stuff and collaborate on. So, and there's time. Just because, like you said, the consoles are lagging doesn't mean we're not going to get there. So hopefully we do.
Yeah, exactly. That would be the perfect service for me. Like, if there's a way to run a persistent world on the PlayStation 4 or on the Xbox One, that would be the perfect thing for me, because like I would run it. My wife could connect to it from her machine. I could connect to it from my Vita. Like, I could be on lunch at work and connect to it. It would just be the perfect solution, which would allow us to do whatever we want on Minecraft at any time. It would be pretty darn cool. Yeah,
that's exciting.
Yeah, it is. If nothing else, we're going to be able to move our Kill Will level. Actually, it's called DeREZD now. We killed the Kill Will one. But when we start doing some more Let's Plays for Minecraft, since we've been having technical difficulties because of my hardware issue, we'll be able to do it on the PlayStation 4 maybe, which will be even better, because we could just do the built-in streaming and not have to worry about cobble together things to get our Skype call into my lame game capture card that I have right now. Hopefully we'll have a better solution in the near future anyway. Awesome. Well, let's move on, man. Let's get into our first actual news story, and that is that the PlayStation 4. I keep doing that. The PlayStation 4 1.7 update has finally been dated. It will be coming on April 30th, with what we talked about last week, Share Factory, with getting rid of HDCP if you want for gaming, auto downloading of games that you've pre-ordered, all that fun stuff will be coming on the 30th, which is a pretty good thing. I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, it's really exciting. You mentioned that someone leaked, I think a Japanese site leaked that the Twitch archiving might be coming too, but that has since disappeared.
Yeah, there was some screenshots from Japan, and one of the screenshots had something that says archive stream. I don't read kanji, so I don't know if that was accurate, but there was an article that was posted on a reputable Sony blog that was going to be included as well. The article that was posted on Sony's Twitter was just a link to an article that they posted on their blog like 2 weeks ago, and there's been no updates to the information there. So it's possible that it is coming. It's just not officially announced anywhere that I can find. So I'm crossing my fingers. In 5 more days, we'll be able to archive our streams from there, upload that stuff to YouTube, do some Let's Plays, have a lot of fun without having any sort of hardware in the middle. It's just coming right from our PlayStation, just like you can do on your Xbox One now, Will. It's no fair that Microsoft gets this and Sony doesn't. I should just go buy an Xbox One. I guess is what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah, you should.
I should.
I mean, that's just without saying, archiving or not.
Yeah, hard to sell after just buying a new computer though. But I got to get on that soon as well.
There you go.
So yeah, April 30th, I will be downloading that update. Sony normally posts a time when it's going to go live, which is ridiculous. They haven't posted that yet, so who knows what that is going to be. But it's coming on the 30th.
So since I'm still new to the PS4, if you're in standby mode, will it auto download that update?
Yeah, basically your PlayStation phones home every once in a while, and if it phones home and it sees that there's an update, it will do that update. It'll download it, and I'm not sure if it applies it or just downloads it and gets it ready to apply. But that should happen automatically, or you can just do a check for update when you get home on the 30th from work.
Nice.
All right, cool. Next up, some interesting news. GameStop announced this week that in what they're calling GameStop 3.0, they're going to be closing, I got to stop doing that, closing 120 to 130 retail stores worldwide because they're looking to focus more on mobile, and they want to save some money on running stores. Interesting. I thought game sales were pretty steady over the last little while, but maybe they're seeing like things like the 1.7 update that allows you to preload your pre-ordered games, and people wanting to just buy digitally and not buy the disc and trade into a game store. Maybe they're trying to save a little bit of money now for what may be lean times in 5 or 10 years. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know.
No love lost. I mean, I don't want to see employees lose their job.
Yeah.
I haven't bought from GameStop, and we were even the other day, my wife and I, we were early to dinner, and there's nothing to do but sit in the car and do nothing, or walk to the GameStop that was right next door, and I couldn't even drum up the motivation to walk in there. Plus, it was raining. I'm sure if it wasn't pouring out, I would have. But
yeah, I dislike going there for a lot of stuff, just because of you walk in and they ask you to pre-order 7 games, and they say, "Yo, if you have this game, bring it in. We'll give you $3 credit. And do you want to protect this game?" And you say no, and they're like, "But if in 1 year you get any scratches and the game won't lead," I'm like, I've been collecting games for 20 years and 20 plus years, and I've never had a problem with any one of my cartridges, and that usually shuts them up. But yeah, just like I hate that. About the only thing that I'll buy at GameStop every once in a while is I'll go in there and I'll buy like a PSN card, which is kind of like sure, you get 5% of that sale, but it's leading to your downfall. But yeah, awesome. not a huge fan of the franchise, but yeah, just like you, that's what 5 people per store. That's a lot of jobs to be lost worldwide. So good luck to anybody that is going to lose their job in the near future. I wonder what that means for Canada, because we still have EB Games, which is owned by GameStop. So I don't know if that means that some of the EB Games are going to go away. Who knows?
So do you have both up there?
No,
or is it just EB?
Just EB Games.
Okay.
Yeah, they bought the franchise. Or I guess they bought EB Games. GameStop bought EB Games, and they just didn't rename the Canadian franchises for whatever reason.
Cool.
So yeah, GameStop already starting to see some downtick in their future, which is a little bit unfortunate for the people that work there.
It's crazy. When I saw this headline, it's just weird to think about how the game-changing effects technology has. I mean, digital, and we could, although it was made popular by Steam, popularized by Steam, to have digital downloads. And it sounds like, well, we know it's a big initiative this console generation too, and it's just interesting the ramifications of those types of features and functions have on the industry as a whole.
Yeah, exactly.
Or how it's going to.
Yeah, just like everything, like the fact that you have a computer in your pocket means that computers aren't selling as much, and people are buying iPads instead of desktops, and it's just like one little change has these like ripple effects throughout the whole industry. It's pretty ridiculous.
Do you remember when you were a kid and one of the most valuable things you had on a Saturday afternoon was that big old yellow book that would tell you the phone number to the movie theater?
Yeah. They're good now for holding up tables that are wobbly and throwing at people. If you want to break someone's leg, but you don't want to leave bruises, or if you want to injure someone, you just put the book and then you hit it with a bat. That's all they're used for now. The mob uses them and stuff. Yeah, phone books. Like, my kids will never grow up knowing what a phone book is, because or many things like an encyclopedia, a map. Yeah, like they're just going to Google. Like, they have access to we have lots of maps in the house, of course, but their kids won't know what a map is really, like unless some world-changing event knocks out all electronics. I mean, a lot of this stuff is just going to be like all digital. They're going to have these little things. I don't even know what it's going to be. It's so far in the future. But the fact that I have a computer that is more powerful than my computer 15 years ago that I carry with me in my pants pocket when I walk around every day, and it's wirelessly connected to my wrist, so that when I get an email, it notifies me on my wrist, so I don't even have to open my phone, because that's too much work. It's just like, what kind of crazy world are we living in where this is the reality? Oh, it's ridiculous.
In the future.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. All right, well, let's move on. Our next story is about a game that was announced a little while ago. It's called H1Z1, or H1Z1 if you're an American. And what it is...
Is that how I sound? American?
No, I can't do your southern drawl very well. I'll have to work on that. But H1Z1 is a free-to-play zombie survival game, basically similar to like Rust or DayZ, which is coming to Sony. It's being put out by Sony. It's coming to Sony platforms. It was just confirmed this week, I think yesterday, that it is in fact coming to PS4. We knew it was coming to PS4, but it hadn't been officially announced. It was announced for PC only, but it is going to be a PC and PS4 release. It's going to hit PC first, and essentially it's a survival game, kind of like Minecraft, where you break things. When you break things, you get stuff, use that stuff to make more stuff, and you try not to get stabbed in the back while you're doing that. There's some interesting things happening where when you play the game, it's free to play, but the only thing you can really spend money on are cosmetic items. So you might want to buy a leather coat, and maybe the leather coat will give you a little bit more defense, or you might buy a toque or a beanie, depending on what part of the world you're in, to wear on your head that looks cool. That type of stuff will be used or bought with real money. You'll use real money for them. They've announced this week that in H1Z1, if you have like a really sick looking hat and I want it, and even though we're partnering up, I kind of want your hat, Will. So it's like, hey, go over there, and then I come up behind you and I club you in the back of the head with a tire iron and I knock you out. I can actually loot your body and take the item that you purchased with real money and put it on my head, which is awesome. It's awesome because it's not griefing, because you get your item. You never lose your item, but I get to wear your item for a certain period of time, maybe 2 deaths, because the items, when you loot them, will have a meter on them that will basically show their health or their durability or whatever. And when you die, the durability of your items goes down. So it will never disappear for you. Your beanie will last forever. You can wear it on your head proudly. But if I kill you, I get a copy of that item that I can wear for a couple of deaths, and then it also disappears from my backpack, and I'll have to go find someone else with that wicked hat that I want to steal.
So I'm confused. So if you steal it from me,
yeah,
I lose it until you
never lose it. It is always yours. So there is a duplicate of that item made, but the duplicate is only temporary.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah. So for example, if we say had a VG podcast crew and I went and spent $5 to get this really killer leather jacket, jean jacket, so I could look like Delsin from Infamous, and we want to be the jean jacket crew, I could say, hey guys, just kill me and take a copy of my jacket, and everybody could kill me, take a copy of my jacket, and then we could go and just like, I don't know, walk the town as a biker gang or something.
That would be sweet.
Yeah, it's wicked, because usually, like, either items are not lootable if they're bought with real money. Like if you've ever played Ultima Online or EverQuest or World of Warcraft, if you buy stuff with real money, it's usually account bound, so it will never go away. It will stay in your inventory. Well, this is different, where it's it's still in your inventory, but it's also in someone else's inventory for a short period of time. Kind of a neat little thing that I don't think anybody else has ever done. At least I don't know of it, and that makes me really excited to play H1Z1 when it finally hits the PlayStation 4. I'm thinking before E3, but who knows?
Well, they did say a beta is coming real soon.
Yeah.
This is really cool to me, not only for just the fact of it being cool and being able and having no negative aspects of it. I mean, you don't. Okay, your buddy gets something or the stranger gets something, but I'm interested the gameplay and what kind of gameplay it's going to inspire. Like what you just said, hey, I see a guy over there that I normally may not mess with, but he has this really cool ball cap that I want, so I'm going to kill him and take his ball cap for a couple hours.
Yeah, normally I'm not a PK guy. I don't kill people randomly, but I really want that wristband. Yeah. Whatever, like there's gonna be a lot of stuff like that happening, and I kind of dig it. I kind of really dig it. There was I watched an hour gameplay of the game, and it looks like Rust, except less naked guys telling you to give you their items or they'll kill you, which seems to be what everybody's posting in Rust videos. It looks like a lot of fun, and just the fact that it's coming out soon makes me happy. Tyler in the chat room's asking why no Xbox One, because it's developed by Sony. It's a Sony online entertainment game, so they won't put it on anything else but PC and their platforms.
The only good thing about that is it will be cool. I bet we'll see kind of like what we saw in what's the game with the Sackboys, Little Big Planet,
right?
Those exclusive property costumes and stuff. Like, it would be really cool if you get a Delson jacket that you get to wear.
Totally.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, like that would be awesome. And that's usually what Sony does. Like what was it that I bought recently? Tokyo Jungle. I picked up Tokyo Jungle. It was on 99-cent sale. And a lot of the free items you could download were like characters from games. Like there was the Ape Escape helmet and a bunch of stuff from other Sony games. And it's just like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. Why would that not be there? Why would I think anything else of that? So I'm sure we'll see some stuff. You'll get an Uncharted like jacket that from the next Uncharted when it comes out. I'm sure you'll get that. Maybe you might even get some not Sony properties, but some deals that Sony will work out with other game manufacturers. Like maybe a Solid Snake eye patch will come to the game or something. It's pretty cool. I'm interested in checking out what H1Z1 is when it finally hits.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I haven't played Rust or DayZ, but I've kept a really close eye on them because they just are very intriguing to me, and I was stoked to see when they announced H1Z1.
Yeah, it looks really good. All right, cool. Let's move on. Speaking of Xbox One, Xbox One will launch in Japan on September 4th, which is pretty long of a delay. It's almost like a year after it launched in the US. It'll be coming to Japan, but people are kind of wondering if it was even ever going to come to Japan, just because the Xbox is always sold poor in Japan. So that's some good news. Gives them another place where they can sell this console. Yeah,
it's weird though. I wonder why the delay.
Yeah, maybe they don't have anything that is applicable to the Japanese market. Maybe they're working on there was a news article that came out a couple months ago where they were working with some mysterious Japanese game studio on a game. So maybe this is part of it. Maybe that's when the game's coming out. Maybe they're expecting some other games that will appeal to that market a little bit more than Forza and Dead Rising and Titanfall. All genres of games that really don't sell too well in Japan, other than Forza, but Forza already has GTA or Gran Turismo. They usually don't buy other games than that. That's their big driving simulator, right? So it's interesting. We'll see what happens.
Well, we know it's not demand. I read today that manufacturing is surpassed demand now for the Xbox One.
Yeah. Well, that just goes to the last article that they that, or the last little news item where they said that they ship to retailers 5 million units. Like, if you're doing well, you don't say ship to retailers, you say sold to people. So I think they're looking at other avenues where they can sell more of these. Do you think they're going to do a price drop at E3, Will?
I do, yeah.
$399 probably, drop the $100. Yeah, they got to. They're falling behind by 3 million. They're almost, Sony has almost sold 50% more systems this early in the life. Microsoft isn't going to take that line down. They're gonna do whatever they can to get right back neck and neck in this race.
Well, and so I think from a consumer standpoint, a lot of people have really harped on the how bad they showed at E3 and how they were forcing us to get the Kinect, and then that obviously raised the price. But you read a lot of game journalism, and they chalk it up primarily to the price, and they're like, well, the price is high because of the Kinect, so that's kind of the root cause. But the price is a big sticking point, and a way to really kind of bridge that gap quickly is to decrease the price. However they do that, I mean, we talked a little bit last time about, do they include the Kinect with the price drop? Do they completely remove it and that justifies the price drop? It doesn't really matter for the short term, but I think you and I are both under the impression, from a consumer standpoint, it would help us the most is if they just price drop and they kept the Kinect in the box. And
sure.
And then it's also kind of an incentive at that point to get a one over a PS4 if that's something you're at all interested in. It's no longer an additional cost,
exactly,
like it does on the 4.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be an interesting E3 to see what happens. As I posted in the chat room, I think $399 is probably very likely. They've already done the $350 with a free game, which essentially is $399, or sorry, $450 with a free game, which is essentially $399. And if Microsoft does that, I could see maybe Sony dropping it $50 or something. But even then, they're so far ahead, they don't have to drop the price. I saw a posting from Future Shop, I think it was today or was it yesterday, saying, come in and pre-order. We have limited units available of the PlayStation 4. And then not even like 2 hours later, they're like, loads of Xbox 360s or Xbox Ones available. We're including a free game for a limited time or something. So it's like, whoa, okay, what's happening here? Why are you already including free games? Like, are you that backlogged on these consoles sitting in your warehouses across the country?
It's still so weird because this is such a different scenario than what we were sitting in last console gen.
Yeah.
Neither consoles could sell. Well, I think the PS3, because of its initial price was so high, there was probably a little more stock of them over the 360. But like we've said over and over, neither of them are doing bad. They're both doing crazy well and better than they've ever done before. So it's just, I think, really a battle between the two. And I think there's some hyperbole with that a little bit. And it's a flashy news item. And so
I mean, just today, the PlayStation 4 boss, worldwide studio boss, Shuhei Yoshida, basically said, you won't want to miss Sony's press briefing this summer at E3. So the hype game is already coming out, and both sides have something really, really huge planned. And yeah, just like you said in the chat room, Will, all eyes will be on Microsoft because they so totally dropped the ball in every possible way last year. Mm-hmm. They're gonna have to do like twice as good as Sony at their E3 press briefing for people to even start talking about them on the same level. That's how badly they screwed up. But they do have the right management now. The new president and CEO of Microsoft, new game studio president, like everything has changed. So if any time there was going to be a change, it'll be this year for sure.
Well, and they're really positioned well as well. The console it's stable. They're adding features constantly. Every month they're adding something significant.
Yeah.
And it's really solid if you have it sitting in your living room. So if they can get kind of past this this price war and this consoles sold, and Respawn kind of, I don't know, I think take it back to their roots, just like Sony has stayed just gaming. Then it's going to be, both sides are going to probably talk about their entertainment side a little bit and kind of talk that up a bit, but that's not what E3 is or should be about. It should just be games. And
Microsoft is going to talk about their all the TV shows that they're working on, and you'll probably
but Sony is too.
Exactly, and you'll probably get Sony mentioning something about that as well. But Sony on I don't know, for their side, they actually have movie studios and music labels that are owned by the company, so it kind of makes sense for them to do that. But hopefully they don't spend like a huge amount of time talking about that stuff. Hopefully it's just like, by the way, we have this, we have that, we have this. Okay, let's move on. Let's get into the games type thing. Mm-hmm. Cool. Do you know what we forgot to do? We got a great question from Morrow, but we forgot to do something for him for sending in a question. So let's do that. I'm not sure if you're a PlayStation gamer, an Xbox gamer, or a Nintendo gamer. But if you're a PlayStation or Xbox, here you go. PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo. It's a me. I don't know, whatever their achievement thing is for Nintendo. Thanks again, Morrow, for sending that great email.
You won yourself a VG podcast trophy and achievements.
1 million VG podcast achievement points.
Yes,
are now in your account.
And what's higher than platinum? Diamond?
Yes.
I know there's one's a medal and one's a jewel, but
they're really not the same thing, but we'll go yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. So let's move on to our next story, and that is this week, just before the new Disney Infinity was announced, Activision decided to let the bag open a little bit on what Skylanders is going to be doing. So they announced Skylanders Trap Team. It's coming on the 5th of October, and it's going to have some new gameplay functionality. If you guys have listened to the podcast on this network, I have kids, and I play these games like crazy because I like them, and also I have kids, so I have an excuse to go out and buy these little toys. So we'll stop laughing. I do have an excuse. I have kids.
I'm just saying.
It's not just me. And it's funny because if I go at lunch to like Toys R Us to buy something, and I bring some Skylanders or Infinity figures, and they ask me, oh yeah, do you play the game? I'm like, oh no, they're for the kids. They're for my kids. I can't even admit to it in public. That's how embarrassing this is. But the new thing with this edition of Skylanders is it's called Trap Team, and it has a new portal. I'm showing it on the screen right now if you're watching the video. If not, it's basically a new portal with this little thing in front of it, which is a trap, and it has a little slot for a little trap token to go into it. And the game is basically going to have you battling bad guys, just like you do in Skylanders right now. But there's going to be like bosses, and when you fight and beat a boss, you basically have a chance to put one of these little guys, these little keys, into the trap, and it'll actually suck the boss out of the game into that key, and then you get to play as the boss, except the boss is good. It also has this little thing here in front, which is a little speaker, and as you're playing the game, that if you have one of those keys in, they'll just start taunting you and saying things to you from the speaker in the portal, which is so bizarre. At first I was like, oh, that is ridiculous. Why would I ever want that? And then they showed like an extended trailer. It was like 3 minutes, and I was like, okay, if I was a kid, I would love the hell out of that. Like, my kids are just gonna love that. My nephews are gonna love it even more because they're a lot younger. So I think this is really cool. The only problem that I have with this is each generation of Skylanders has added more and more figures to the count. I think there's over 100 figures out now between the 3 games. So Skylanders, Spyro's Adventure, there were Skylanders Giants, there was Skylanders SWAT Force. There's over 100 individual figures. And then there's other things available as well. This is going to add 50 new Skylanders between the Trap Team figures, the normal figures, and And then to top it off, there's going to be these little traps, those little keys that go into the thing. There's going to be like 16 of those. Or no, sorry, there's what does it say? I can't remember what it was. I think it's 16, or maybe it's 20. But either way, there's going to be a whole bunch of little keys to collect now. So they're adding new collectibles. It's just like, okay, where do I draw the line? And the thing with the way that the little trap items work is they have a little element symbol on it. So if you want to capture a fire boss, well, you have to have a trap that has a fire symbol on it. Otherwise, you can't, which is just super dirty, but that's the way Skylanders works.
But at least, so there's 40 villains, but I guess there's only 8 different elements, so you just need one of those 8.
Exactly.
Or you need one of each of those 8 elements to
exactly. Yeah. So it's similar to what it is right now, where if you have 8 figures, you can beat the whole game because you have one of each element. Sorry, there's 175 figures. I think there's 100 different ones, but there's a lot of duplicates of them. The article says 175. Right here, 175 figures. That is a ridiculous amount. I'm glad I'm not collecting all the different poses and things like that. It's bad enough with the collection that I have. But the cool thing is, once you've beaten a boss, it's in the game that you beat that boss. And then if you ever want to say take, I don't know, Bobo, the boss, out of the game, but he's not currently on one of your traps, you can just transfer him and they'll replace the same element guy back and forth. So you can kind of swap in between them. It's kind of a neat little thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I've never played any of these games, but I know it's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way that there's a new base for every single one of them. Yeah. At least this one has a functional reason, and it has a speaker in it and these other tokens. So hopefully the value is a little bit higher in that respect, since they're forcing you.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's getting to the point where it's like Garage Band and Rock Band, or sorry, Guitar Hero and Rock Band, where each game that comes out, there's new plastic junk to keep in your house, and like I have all my bases sitting around, and it's like, well, I have the first one, I have the second one, I have the third one, I have a duplicate of the third one, I have the Game Boy ones. It's just like, why do I need all these little chunks of plastic? Oh yeah, because the game won't work unless I have them around. Thankfully, on the PlayStation 3, you can use the SWAT Force portal with all the previous games where you couldn't use the Giants one. There was some incompatibilities or whatever. So at least I could get rid of some of those, but yeah, it's just, I don't know, how many little plastic circles do I need? At least this one has a speaker, I guess, but I think that will grow old. Hopefully there's a way to turn off that voice after a while. I'm sure it's going to get really, really crazy. Anything else to say about Skylanders, Will?
No, it'll be interesting to see how Disney Infinity responds. They're having next Wednesday, the day of the PlayStation patch, actually, they're having their announcement for the second version of Disney Infinity, which will be including Marvel characters. And so it'll be interesting to see this race as it continues to heat up.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, let's move on. Let's get into what we've been playing. We were going to talk a little bit about Watch Dogs, but I think we'll save that for next episode. We've already been recording for over an hour, and we still got a lot of games to talk about. So, Will, what have you been playing lately on your computer devices of some sort?
Well, this is one of those weeks where I've hardly had any gaming time, which really sucks. Each night this week, I'm like, I'm going to play this, and that never happens. So I've been playing 2 games. I'm continuing to play a little bit of Hearthstone, although not as much as I played last week and the week before. But it's just kind of that fun game to use to wind down. If I'm really jonesing for some gaming and I'm too tired or too lazy to get up and game, I was like, worst case, I can just take my iPad and play some Hearthstone. So it's fun. I really dig each day they have new quests, assuming your quest log is empty. And that can be anywhere from like winning 5 matches, getting 100 attack points on opponents, or winning 3 times with a rogue or a priest, something like that. It's cool because it kind of gives you something to strive for, and if you may not maybe you're like, do I really want to play tonight? And then you're like, oh yeah, I have these couple quests that I want to unlock. And when you unlock the quest, you get the gold coins, which is the currency in the game to use to buy cards. So
Sure.
that's cool. I dig that little carrot. And then the other game I've been playing, and I actually been talking a little bit in the forums to one of our listeners, Nyquil Dream. I've been finally picked up and have started playing the DLC for BioShock Infinite.
Yes.
It's awesome.
I started it, but I didn't play too much of it. I gotta get back into that. It'll definitely be something I want to get into now that both of them are out. There's really no need to wait anymore. I guess I can just get in there and experience Rapture, or not Rapture.
Yeah,
Rapture.
Rapture.
Yeah, I can experience Rapture fully on both of the episodes. Is episode 2 out now? Yeah, it is, right?
Mm-hmm. It is, yeah.
Yeah, so I got to get in and do that for sure.
Well, it's been cool because I checked to see how long it takes to beat each episode, and each episode is, I think, about 2.5 hours, depending on how you're playing it. I played it 3 nights this week, but those were really distracted play sessions where I was playing here and there. And also, my favorite part of the BioShock series is Rapture, and you really get to see it in a different light. It's especially starting off the game. I know it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way because the first part of episode 1, you're just kind of walking around, you're talking to people, there's no action. But I tell you what, that was my favorite part so far, because Rapture is in this pristine state. You're getting all these clues from the first 2 games in Rapture, and kind of like the political struggles that's going on. And it's just so pretty and immersive. And it's like, this is why I love this game. And it will probably forever be one of my all-time favorites, because few games give me that sort of feeling that BioShock has with the immersion. So my plan is definitely, and I've been really taking my time, because I kind of know it's the last one for a while, and it may even be kind of the last one as we know it. Mm-hmm. So I'm really, really digging that. So I'm going to try to get through that this weekend. But cool. Yeah, that's all I've been playing. Not a whole lot.
Cool. All right.
What about you?
I've been playing a little bit. I picked up Octodad this week. Played a little bit about that. It's a really short game. You can pretty much blow through it in like 2 hours if you kind of know what you're doing. But that's not really a bad thing per se. It's just it's such a stupidly fun game. I'm gonna have to do some streaming of it this weekend. So hopefully some of you guys can check it out. But you play an octopus who's pretending to be a human, and no one knows that you're a octopus. So and you control the game really weird. So you have your 2 analog sticks, and then you have 4 triggers. Well, you only use 3 of the triggers. So if you hold down the L2 and you move forward on the left stick, you move your leg forward and back, your left leg forward and back. If you move the right stick, you move it up and down. So if you want to get upstairs, you have to move it forward on the left, forward on the right. You have to hold it down, then let go, and then you'll put your foot down. So walking becomes you just like flapping sticks and pushing buttons. And then you want to pick stuff up. So you hold down R1 to use your right arm, and then you move it with the same stick. So you might be picking up something over here and then moving over here. So you have to kind of like go forward and back, and then you trip over things, you knock stuff over. It is ridiculous. And it is amazingly, amazingly awesome. There's even a multiplayer mode where if you have 4 people, you each control a separate body part. So you would have 4 DualShocks 4s, and one person would be the left leg, one person would be the right leg, one would be the left arm, one would be the right arm, and then it randomly switches, apparently. I haven't done the co-op. I want to do the co-op. I want to get some people over, hook up some extra DualShocks, and just get stupid, crazy fun in playing this game. It is so much fun. So I've been playing a lot of that. I'm going to get more into that hopefully this weekend. Hopefully beat it and do some live streaming of that as well. I've been playing a lot of Minecraft on PS3 as well, which is kind of an every week kind of thing. I'm still on my Lego Platinum quest, still playing through Pirates of the Caribbean on the PlayStation 3, but I did manage to get a platinum. I platinumed Lego Chima on the Vita, which I bought for next to nothing, and it was fun. Actually, I don't know anything about Lego Chima, but it was actually fun to see this new world kind of play out and stuff. The best part about it is you didn't have to get 100% to get the platinum. You just had to do some things. The weird thing is it's a port of the 3DS version on the Vita. And it some of the textures just look terrible.
Interesting.
It's like you'll have a close up and it's like 7 pixels is the guy's mouth, but it's stretched this big. It's like, wow, you didn't fix that? Okay. But the game itself was actually a lot of fun. So I'm gonna hopefully get close to platinuming Lego Pirates tomorrow or this weekend, because I've already beaten the game and I'm just going back through my cleanup run, and then maybe I'll start a Star Wars one to have some fun, because it's been a little bit crazy. Tyler, you're asking if I can live stream Burial at Sea. I could. I possibly could. I'd have to go through my video capture card, but that's a possibility as well.
I can too. Since I'm actually playing it on the Mac, I didn't mention that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you could do that. So maybe we'll do some live streaming on that. And besides that, I'm also playing a little bit of Hearthstone on my iOS platform, my iOS device. Dungeon Quest, I've been playing a fair bit of that as well as a couple games whose names I can't think of right now. Let me see if they're on my iPhone. Yes. It's the new Rocket Cat game. It's called Wayward Sword, I think is what it's called. Wayward Souls. And what it is it's a roguelike. So you basically go as far into the dungeon as you can. If you die, you have to restart, losing all your stuff. So roguelike is a good descriptor of it. The other good descriptor is action RPG, because it looks like you're playing like a Secret of Mana type RPG. Same art style, same everything. So really interesting game. I'm only just a little bit into it, so I don't know what to say too much about it yet, but I'm having a hell of a lot of fun, and it's by the Rocket Cats guys, and every game they make is awesome. It's $5, so it's a premium game, which is good because there's no in-app purchases, and even weirder, every time that they come out with a major update, they're increasing the game by $1. So it's cheaper if you buy it now than when you buy it later. So
that's interesting. That's a interesting model, but I guess it kind of makes sense. You're increasing that content, so
yeah, and it's a way to drive people to buy early and hope for future updates. So really bizarre, but I'm not going to complain too much, because it's Rocket Cat and I want them to do well so that they come out with more and more stuff, because their stuff is pretty damn awesome. They did the Hook Champ and all those other great games, Mage Gauntlet and some other things. What was it? Punch Quest, I think, was another one.
I remember that.
So many great games. And the latest one is Wayward Souls, which is amazing for $5 so far. And I've only played an hour of it, so we'll see what happens as I get further into it. All right, I think that's it. That's all I've been playing, man. And that's, I think, about it for the show. This is a short one. I thought it would be longer when we got into what we've been playing, but we're only about an hour and 15 minutes in, which is okay. We don't have to do 2-hour crazy episodes every single episode. Tyler says he loves the podcast so much. Hey, thanks, man. That's really awesome to hear. We love putting it out. If you too love the podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Even more, we'd love for you to tell 2 friends, because that's the best way for this podcast to grow, is through word of mouth from people that enjoy it. So tell 2 friends to go to vgpodcast.com and check out the awesome DeREZD podcast, and hopefully we'll get some more subscribers. If you're just flying by, if you're just flying by and listening to it, you can subscribe there as well.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, and if you tell at least 2 friends, then we will give you a trophy or an achievement. And if you tell 4 friends, you get both.
Yeah, you get.
That's how we roll.
You get one of those, or one of those, or I can make it go the same time. There you go.
There
Right
you
at the
go.
same time. So there you go. You can get some virtual achievements on the VG Podcast website. We want to hear from you guys. Head on over to vgpodcast.com, click contact us at the top of the page. The easiest way to get a hold of us and send us an email. Or you can email us directly at vgpodcasts@gmail.com. Call our voicemail line, which is 505 area code, 505 VG Podcasts. Or you can just hit us up on Twitter. I'm at Dasby on Twitter. Will is at iLiam. Here it is. There's Will. Look at him. Look at his handsome self and his Twitter profile right below his face. And we do want to hear from you guys. So definitely send in your comments, questions, and concerns, and we'll get to it. I'm looking into a way to have an audio recorder on our website somewhere. So even if you don't have a way to call us, you don't want to email us, but you still want to give us your voice message, there'll be a way that you'll be able to do that. I'm still working on it, and hopefully to get that set up in the near future. So watch for news of that coming up soon.
And also, if you're interested in any of our live streams or just wanting to be notified of the shows when they go live, make sure you ask on Twitch. VG Pod is our Twitch channel.
That's right. Follow us on Twitch or on YouTube, because all of our stuff eventually makes it there. We do a lot of shows here at the network. We do the Nintendo Pulse, Touch of Gaming, and we also have the Disney Infinity podcast as part of the network. So you can hear Will talk about everything that is Disney Infinity there as well. Although I haven't seen the new episodes on the site, so
I'll fix that.
We'll have to fix that. But you can follow that stuff there, or you can go to the website, which is what, Will?
It's InsideDisneyInfinity.com.
So you can check it out in both places and get your Disney Infinity fix, which should be heating up really soon with the April 30th press event that Disney's doing.
Yes. If I may actually plug, we have a pretty aggressive content strategy for what will be Disney Infinity 2. So if you're at all interested in that game, make sure you check us out. And we'll be posting, like I said, or like Lloyd said, on vgpodcast.com, so you can see that content there.
Exactly. I'm trying to pull up your website so I can give you a nice little visual plug. Boom, there we go. Inside Disney Infinity. There you have Jason, the wanted gamer who's in the chat room with a hat on, because he loves to wear hats. So if nothing else, you can see amazing hats on the Disney Infinity podcast. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, that's going to about do it for episode 10 of DeREZD. Everybody, we love that you love the show, and we love doing it. We'll talk to you in about a week's time. Take it easy, everybody.
Bye, everyone.